Good afternoon and a very welcome to another Thursday Live. I cannot believe that we have reached the middle of the year. For those that don't know, we have entered the second half of 2024. I hope that the year so far has been treating you well. I am Nadine Fussler, better known as Mama Tjhoko, and I'm here to give you endless inspiration, creative inspiration, to do something in your own space, whether it's painting a furniture piece, a wall, doing something small on a creative scale, so that you can just experience the benefits of being creative. So today around me, I actually have some new Tjhoko developments I do want to share with everyone. So lately we've been busy, hectically busy with new product development. And that's something that is very close to my heart and very enjoyable to see how ideas actually come to life. So behind me, we are introducing beautiful new decoupage fabric sheets, and I'm going to show you today step by step how to use them. So one question that we've received recently is they come forward up in a little packet like this, and then there are greases because they have been folded. And how do you get rid of them? Now, because this is fabric and not paper, you can actually iron them. So you put your iron on steam and you steam iron them. My mom came to visit because I had to work hard in Joburg, and Kaylee was busy writing exams, and last night she actually used the steamer to steam out all the greases, and it works like a charm. We've made a video and we will hopefully put that on TikTok so that you can see how it's done by just steaming it. Now, I do want to share something with you because you know that Tjhoko is all about sharing and sharing stories and just being authentic human. So when I realized that Tjhoko really has become such a central part of my being, because it's all about a story, sharing ideas. And I often say that it doesn't matter what you find yourself being creative with, the amazing benefits by being creative is something that you do need to experience. So in 2021, I wrote a book, and the very last color and story was dedicated to my mom. And last night, so in the book, I said, if there's one thing I thought and so often told my brother as we walked home that I never want to do, it's paint. Because my mom would paint and still paints anything. But there was a time when my mom received green paint as a gift. And the one afternoon when we walked home, my brother and I actually walked past our house. Because my mom, in the time we went to school for one day, changed the entire facade of the house. And then my mom came to visit this week. I do want to share something with you before we start being creative. So, in the time she's been here, she got hold of my creative crystal that is in my garage. And she painted this, this was actually suede in creative crystal. This is now green crystal. You are living now in my house. But that was not enough because the paint was not done. So 500 ml creative crystal on here. And then you will see I put this out just to give more inspiration of the designs. She had to include more creative crystal over here. So Mom, thank you. I will think of you every day because that green that was part of my upbringing is now living in my house. Last night I said to my dad, I better phone my brother and tell him, Tinus, you will not believe, Mom got hold of a jar of green paint. So what we are going to do today is we are going to show how to do the decoupage paper. So over here, last night in an instance, we have actually transformed this piece this morning when I showed it to Crystal in a picture She said, I'm sure this chest of drawers looked different for previous Thursday Lives. And I said, yeah, it has received a few transformations over the past year. But we are going to show exactly how to use the decoupage sheet and how to create very quickly, easily and effectively something very bespoke and unique in your own space. And something that I often say is that color, design, pattern is something very personal. And that is something that makes life so interesting, is the fact that we all are different. So over here are inspiration pieces of the decoupage sheets with different designs. But look at the color. For a moment, just do some self-discovery. See what you like, what you don't like. Take a moment to actually discover something about yourself. And due to the fact that we all are so different, not everyone will necessarily like the same things. And that is what makes life so interesting. The fact that we all are different. So embrace that. Over here, we have more designs and color inspirations. These are only a few of the designs I have with me. And now I'm going to show step by step how to use it. Okay, so whether it is a piece of furniture or a piece of canvas like I have here, the steps will remain exactly the same. So when we are painting onto varnish surfaces, we do recommend to clean the surface first by using lacquer thinners. Lacquer is a word in Afrikaans that means nice. But lacquer thinners, that lacquer is spelled a bit differently, but the sound is the same. So when you walk into your hardware store, you don't ask for benzene or sugar soap or turpentine, you ask for lacquer thinners and you just think it's lacquer to be thin. That is what I need to clean my surface to ensure that it is grease-free so that my paint project is a success. On canvas and fabric, that is not needed. Like for instance, this suede couch that my mom has painted was not cleaned with lacquer thinners. For that, she sprayed it with some water, made sure that it's nice and evenly damp, and then started painting. And also as you proceed with the painting process, if the fabric needs to be dampened more, you do so. Something that we also recommend for fabrics is to test first, because the composition of the fabrics differ, and you need to know that you are going to like the texture, because paint changes the texture of fabric. But for now, we are going to imagine that we're working on a piece of furniture, like the one I have worked on last night with my mom. Mom, thank you. I'm missing you. The house is so empty without you. And we have now, if it was a varnish surface, have cleaned it properly with the lacquer thinners, allowed drying time. Remember, in winter times, something that we are experiencing now in South Africa, Europe, for those of you watching from Europe, I hope you all are warm and well and enjoying the warmer temperatures. There, everything now will dry quicker because the evaporation process happens quicker due to the heat in the air. Okay, so if this was varnish surface, I would have cleaned it with lacquer thinners. Summer temperatures, 40 minutes drying time. Winter, things might take longer. And then for decoupage applications, it is important to paint a very pastel color as a base color. So something that is not too dark, because you want your sheet to be the hero, and you don't want the dark color to overshadow the beautiful design and color that you see on the design of the decoupage material. So I am using Ishmael's Ish. Last night we used Lebo's Light. So any color that is light and not too dark can be used as the foundation coat. Also important, you don't need to apply 2 coats. If you are going to decoupage over it, 1 coat is more than sufficient. So I'm just rolling. You can paint with a paintbrush. For the purpose of the Thursday Live, we just try to do things as quickly and as effective as possible. So I'm rolling my paint onto my surface, one coat more than enough, nicely even out, and you make sure that your paint dries before you proceed to the next step. One coat, more than sufficient. You just want something on the base that the glaze that we are going to use as the adhesive can adhere to. Okay, and that is step 2 after you've cleaned your surface. Maestro is well behaved. Dad, can't believe it, Maestro showed his worst manners this past week. Okay, now my surface has been painted, your Maestro, and it is dry. And you can see it's just one very thin coat that we did in the middle of the night while a snake was sailing in our kitchen, like for real. In the winter in South Africa, we're still not sure what snake it was, but believe me, it was not a pleasant experience. My dad, yeah. So when we grew up, my dad was that person that that you can laugh for. So my mom was the painter and my dad was the Mr. Bean, and still is. And the one time they painted their house and he stepped down the ladder, and as he stepped down, he stepped into a 20-liter filled with paint. So what he did is he just walked with the bucket of paint to the tap so that he could wash off his feet and his shoes before my mom could see anything, because boy, then he would have been in trouble. So last night when we saw the snake in the house, the first thing I thought is, oh my hair hat, does this need to happen while my dad, Mr. Bean, is visiting? But all ended well. Okay, so what we want to do next is we want to adhere the decoupage sheet onto our surface. And how we do it is with clear glaze. If your sheet is smaller than the surface, and I want to show you. So what we have done there is the sheet is smaller than the surface that I'm working on. So I selected an area where I can actually manipulate the design. So I moved the entire design to the bottom and kept a section at the top open, and you will see now how we will fill that in. So there you can see the sheet doesn't fill the entire area, but there are ways of fixing and blending with color. I'm just going to show the process and then we will continue to that. So how do you adhere the decoupage sheet to a surface? There are many ways. Some prefer to first paint some glaze onto the bottom, press the sheet down, and then paint some undiluted clear glaze. This is what I'm using. So this is the adhesive. The clear glaze we use for multiple purposes. We use it as a sealer to make a surface UV and water resistant. We use it to transfer pictures onto a surface. We use it to dilute paint. We use it as a pouring medium. We use it as an adhesive in this instance. So the versatility of the glaze and even the Tjhoko paint products are vast. So Tjhoko can be used as a paint and furniture paint. It can be used as a blackboard paint. It can be used as a flower pot paint. It can be used as a fabric paint if you have tested the fabric surface first. It can be used to paint tiles without having to apply a primer. Metal can be painted without a primer. So there is just so many possibilities. The main thing is to enjoy it and just feel the story and inspiration every time you unscrew that lid. So what I'm doing is I'm just dipping my paintbrush in the clear glaze and I'm simply painting the glaze on. Once this is dry, it will completely adhere the fabric to the surface and then in a design of your choice. Okay. So this is the step. I'm not going to waste more time on this. And then I'm going to move to the one that I've prepared with my mom last night. Okay, so here we have a beautiful sunflower theme. You can see here is the top section with the clouds on. This is the field. The sunflowers are hanging down. But my paper was too small for the entire surface. So there are many ways of manipulating. I'm going to share one way today. So if you just paint, because there is a slight difference in texture and also level where the paint and the canvas meet, you don't just want to paint, else that imperfection of level will still be visible. So what I'm doing is I'm using stencil of Paris. This is a embossing medium. Oh, Kylie, kyk hoe soet sit Maestro langs. Just see how good Maestro is. This is not something that happens every day. Maestro, is hy soet? Is hy baie soet? Kyk jy hoe decoupage ons Maestro. Focus jy. Are you focusing, Maestro? I'm so glad. I'm very proud of you. Okay, so I am scraping the stencil of Paris paste onto my decoupage sheet to almost hide the imperfection of the level here at the top. Now you can wait. So this you can blend in nicely. Just make sure that is level where the sheet and the surface you're working on meet each other. And now you can wait for that to dry, or you can start. Now what you do when you want to start blending, you actually use the colors on your surface as a guidance, so that you use colors that was already selected for this design, because that is a piece of art and we are just going to replicate what happened here already. So I have selected a few colors I'm going to share with you, but you see which Tjhoko colors you have available, and you can mix colors together to get you different tones. Look, my beautiful paint trays. So I have selected colors like Pebble Shadow, because there you can see more or less the same tone as Pebble Shadow. Just for some, I had these colors, but you can add white to the Pebble Shadow to get lighter tones. There's some fine lining. Yellow, I have selected John's Joy. And then for the pinkish tones, there's Terina's Idea. And then also Tinky's Treat. And then, of course, always white if you want to go lighter, and you will need black or maybe a dark brown if you want to go darker. But what I do now is in some of the paints I have mixed some stencil of Paris, that just to make the consistency thicker. And what I do is with my scraper, not perfect, remember this is art, so you don't want to create perfection, you do want to create art. I'm just scraping some colors over my stencil of Paris so it actually blends with the background and the colors that were selected for the background. I'm going to add some yellow. I just want to share something with you. I'm working on a sheet that we have launched recently, and it's called a waterproof sheet. We also use it on little Tina's, my nephew, my brother's cute little boy's bed, because it's also like a waterproof sheet to save your, like a mattress saver. But what you can do, I quickly want to show you, is if you want to keep your sheet clean, this is also part of the Tjhoko range, you can use the wipes. So if you want to keep your sheet clean, you just wipe and then it remains clean. And this is actually now my newest secret to stay clean and also save my clothes. So if you, my mom actually last night got some paint on her winter jacket and also on my leather couch, and then we cleaned it with a wipe. So it is a great saving tool. Okay, so my surface is protected. I'm busy with color. Next, I'm going to add some John's Joy. And just a spatula, palette knife, even a scraper will work I'm just spreading the colors. Now some Dinky Street. And this is actually so much fun. Recently, when we attended Nambu, we showed during one of the sessions how you actually use the art of the decoupage fabric as a guideline to fill the entire sheet with color. So instead of painting by numbers and have small sections where you need to replicate and fill in the number according to the color, you use this background. And what you do is you become aware of how the colors go darker, lighter, lighter. And with various colors, you paint on top of your sheet to create an authentic piece of art. And what we have seen even in workshops is that every piece still looks unique, because every person has that unique personal touch and that they add. So this can be a beautiful canvas in an area and personalized with your personal touch. Now, I'm not going to do anything further. Once this has dried, no one will know that the paper was actually too small for the design. Just scrape some color down so it's not perfect, and that it looks like a piece of art. Okay, next step is once your glaze is dry, to remove the excess, you simply sand. So on these areas, it really is dry. You can sand down. If you just want to make sure that there's no damage. So just at a 45-degree angle, sand down.
What grid are you using?
Okay, the grid I'm using is an 80 grid. And I think it's just because there wasn't anything else, but I would recommend 100 grids. So 100 grid is a safe grid to use, just to make sure this might be too coarse. So rather 100 grid to be safe, and then you can't damage your piece of work. So I know that my piece is 100% dry because I did it last night already. The swans that we shown earlier on that piece of furniture was really one evening last night before the Thursday live. We did that. It's quick. So how we've done the drawers, just to give some guidance, is the edges of the drawers are beveled. So you won't get the paper into those edges, just on the flat areas. We'll walk to that chest of drawers again, okay, at the end. So you only decoupage the flat areas, and what I've done, I've put all the drawers next to each other, facing up, so facing me, and I've tied them together with masking tape so that they stay together. Then I've laid the piece of sheet flat onto them, painted the glaze on top. Once the glaze has dried so that the fabric actually can't lift, with a Stanley blade, I've cut them loose and then allowed them to dry perfectly before I started with the sanding process. But I'll show what I mean with the beveled areas, because you won't be able to maneuver the fabric to go into those grooves and crevices. Okay, so here you can see I didn't apply glaze. How do I fix? Of course, there are always ways to fix. So if you notice, oh, I had something, I've missed glaze, or I didn't stick it down properly, you never have reached a point where you can't fix something. So I will simply now paint my glaze there, allow for this to dry, and then only once it's dry, I will sand it again. And this can be a beautiful piece of art in your space. And there you can see it's loose. I'm not going to sand the area that's wet. I'm first going to wait for that to dry. And there you can see that's still wet. And once that has dried, everything will blend in perfectly. And now if you wish, if you want to, you can fill those also area by area with more color. Okay, so let's go to the chest of drawers case that we can just show this. So as you can see here, there is the flat area of the drawer and there's the beveled area. So the fabric will not, it won't look neat if you try and fill in those areas. So rather, just do it at the top. So just do it on the flat areas, and then, like I've done with the canvas, you sand the edges off, and it looks beautiful. If you don't want raw wood, what you can do is paint. I've painted these areas black. So there you can see, and I've sanded it because I like the look. But if you don't want to sand, you can keep it a solid color, and then the design is on the front. No glaze is needed afterwards, so you just make sure when you do the application that the glaze adheres properly to your decoupage sheet. And if it's dry, it's dry, and it still has a beautiful, soft, elegant touch to it. It's actually stunning. It looks like a piece of art. Okay, so Sunday is actually Father's Day, and I thought, okay, we are not doing anything today for Father's Day, but then I realized, doesn't every man and every father actually want the women and the girls in their lives to be happy? So I think this Father's Day, we paint a furniture piece for Dad that he will love. So Dad, I'm coming to your bride room to see what I can Tjhoko there for you. So that every time when you bride, you can think of me and remember me as I'm going to think of Mom in my house with all the green that I currently see around here. It's been lovely to be back. It's been lovely to share some creative ideas. If there are any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We are here to help and to assist. And may the week ahead be one filled with creative moments. And may the week ahead be filled with the most special people in your lives that makes a difference. And let's also be the difference that other people need in their lives. Love you lots. Be safe, stay warm, South Africa, Europe. Enjoy the summer. Every day here is a day closer to summer. So we are bearing with the winter cold. Till next time, bye-bye.